Yes, we're live. Welcome to another Monday Live. Thank you for taking the time out to join me and my amazing guest today when we raise the vibration and share the positive. Every week on Monday at noon Eastern, I invite you to join me here on YouTube Live and introduce you to another vibrational guest. Before we begin, if you're first one to show up on this feed below, you get to choose what affirmation deck our focus will be coming from today. So green or orange, the I am vibrational or the I am sacred affirmation deck. And if somebody doesn't put something in the feed, guess what? It'll be Ida that makes the choice. So that may be the way it's supposed to be. So what I'm going to do, I'm going to light the candle. Today I don't have my fan going. Usually it's a lot warmer. And of course, let me just see if I can get that done. Usually when the fan's going above me here, it blows out the candle. So our candle is lit. We're set with intention as always. So nobody put on there. Before we go into this, and I'm just waiting for a decision on the deck. If you haven't had a chance, my weekly reading, The Divine Reset, is up and available on YouTube. And it really does connect with what we're going to talk about today. So check it out after we finish today. And if you're not already subscribed to me on YouTube, you know what to do. Press the little button below. And then that way you get everything that I share every single day on YouTube coming to your inbox. Okay, so I think Ida, so I will give the opportunity for anybody, the first person that puts in the feed here, which deck? The I am vibrational or the I am sacred? If you don't put it up.
If nobody's going in for that, I think I'm going to go for the I am sacred because
I'm thinking the same thing. So, okay, stand down, everyone. The lady here has made a decision. My beautiful friend.
I want to see what it says in the I am sacred today.
Let's see. Okay, one more.
It's not often we get card pulls for ourselves.
There we go. There's the one. And I love this because I know you do a lot of native work. Card number 47, I am sacred in the bliss of being genuine in my own vibration.
Wow, that's lovely.
Yeah, and in fact, I took that photograph that is behind all the sacred geometry here. I was blessed to be in New Brunswick area, and there was a powwow going on, and somebody very, very kindly. So I was going to say that too, Blue Rose said, and Helen's here, so thank you. So this is us. And of course, we're in the bliss of being genuine in our vibration today. So I'll put that up there. And our conversation today, Wakey, signs of spiritual waking. And as we all know, that's one step at a time. So we will address some of the questions that have been given to us prior. Hi, Francesca. And if you have any that you want to ask during the live feed, and I emphasize that because sometimes after we've finished, people put questions up. So it's only while we're live. So put them in the chat below, okay? And a little spoiler alert. If you're still around, so hang around to the end because we're going to see who Spirit picks to have a little tiny reading today. Okay, so before we get started, let me introduce my guest, Ida Mae Keatley. Ida is a healer, a medium, as well as an empath intuitive. Ida was aware, you were like me, aware of your gifts very young. And you, at a young age, and she was speaking and seeing Spirit, doing hands-on healing for family members. Ida started her journey in England, same as me, and then traveled to Ireland before immigrating to Canada. Now, Ireland is not somewhere I went on my journey to get here. So Ida Mae holds her Reiki Masters, Chios Masters, have I pronounced that correctly? High Dimensional Healer and Crystal Therapist Diploma. And that, if you get a chance to go on that course, it's like amazing. As well as her readings, her healings. Ida is sought after as a spiritual coach because she shares wisdom in a non-judgmental approach. Ida Mae travels around Canada, the US, obviously when this is not happening, and teaching her Healers Practitioner course combined with color, thought, oils, and crystals. Her animal course, and I didn't know about that, especially for dogs and horses, connects owners on their use of energy and approach, giving them the better understanding of how they interact read energy balance, the chakras, and subtle bodies of these majestic creatures. Maybe we can do one of the conversations for the animals. I like that idea. Anyway, we'll talk about that afterwards. Sorry, I get distracted very quickly. I get excited. So Ida May is also she's so approachable. She's so approachable, and I love when she shares knowledge and wisdom of spirit with us all. And that's what she's here today. She offers classes, other classes, such as chakra singing bowls, drumming, meditation. And I've been privy to some of Ida's drumming when we were at a metaphysical show many years ago. That's where we met, when Chris and I were traveling across Canada, and we're, the synchronicity of we happen to just be in the right place at the right time. No coincidences, as I continually say. She also does house clearing, house blessings. I love that too. Spiritual development and psychic circles. Ida makes her own bath bombs, sugar scrubs, soaps, candles, and all Reiki infused with Reiki infused energy. This is why she looks so young all the time. Ida May is currently based out of Weyburn in Saskatchewan, and to connect with her
next week.
Oh my gosh, I'm
or should I turn around and say I'm 15 next week?
Well, I hit the beautiful age of 63 this year, so I was 6, 7. I'm 9.
Yeah,
I've always wanted to be a 10, but I'm a 9 at the moment. Anyway, we love having fun, and that's what I love with the guests that I get to come on these Monday Live. So thank you, Ida, for joining me.
You're welcome. Thank you for having me.
I truly love spending time with her. So without further ado, let's open up this conversation and we'll go through some of the questions. I don't think we'll get through all of them, but we'll try and cover as many as we can that have been asked of both her and I about spiritual enlightenment. And yes, it's time to be awake, people. I know both Ida and I over the years have been asked some pretty unique questions relating to enlightenment. And just so you know, for anybody that's with us live here, there are no silly questions. After all, how on earth will you find out if you don't ask the questions? Okay, exactly. So don't feel concerned of, oh, I'm going to ask something silly. There are no silly questions, okay? As I say, this is the only way we learn. And we've been asked many questions on this subject. So it shows us that people are waking up. And yes, some are totally unaware of its true meaning. This is part of why we're here today. We'll work through some of the questions we have, and I will watch the feed. So if anybody has any questions, come up. So the biggie and starting point, I feel, is to explain a little about what spiritual awakening is, and maybe isn't, okay? Because there's no straight line on this, and this is the fun part about it. The first thing I think we should all understand is that we are all on different frequencies. So think of it like tuning into your favorite radio station. And if you think of them in that way, they're just different dimensions, different frequencies. So let me be very clear. There's no better or lesser than another. All right. No better. No one's better. No one's lesser. It's just what we need at that time, in that moment. So many are soul searching. Hi, Lorraine. Thank you for joining us. And this awakening could be one of the most confusing and beautiful experiences all rolled into one. To put things into layman's terms, or street speaking, if you like, it's the beginning of your initiation. It's that time you consciously decide that you want to step into or onto your spiritual pathway, because what you have in life either doesn't fulfill you, or you haven't found that inner zen, happiness, inner bliss. And this is where we sidestep from the ego and move into ourself, our inner being, and start having that conversation. Yes, that conversation with our higher self, spirit. And at this time, yes, it has been a little to do with what is occurring around us in our world, both inner and outer, because we're questioning. We are spending more time alone, looking for something more meaningful, connecting back to the source, as I call it. We're waking up and questioning more about our beliefs, our habits. And I know personally, I've changed a lot of things in this short time. So Ida, please let us know your insights related to this. I babbled on for a moment. And then after that, we can get straight into the questions.
Well, it's like, as we said, it's very different for all, and there's no rush to it.
Yeah.
If you're from a very young age, you can switch off and you can pick up again.
Yeah.
There are things like that happen in between, and that unsettles the body. So you have to go back and then catch up. Okay, and there's a lot of us, we have switched it off when we've been younger.
Right.
I always start off with people and turn around and say, do you have a life to live, or do you live your life?
Yes. Yes.
Yeah, and then from there, it's okay. That makes a person think, like, what is life? What is it? What is it about? We can exist in this lifetime and be quite okay with it, because we get into the monotony of traveling to work, coming home, and then it gets into the mundane. And is this all there is? And then a lot of people go, yeah, this is all there is. This is life.
Yeah.
And you work so hard and you look forward to your 2-week break. So if you can get on holiday, sometimes people can't even afford to do that. Then that's when you start losing touch. So if you can then really sort of start thinking of it onto the purpose of why you're here and reigniting the fire within, and like, as we say again, bringing out that, inner child, which is the laughter, the fun, and things like that.
Yeah.
It's amazing how you can turn your life around and really live life to the fullest. And then everything else that comes in doesn't have to be materialism. It doesn't have to be illusion and glamour of what we have brought into, into our life. Yeah. So going through and and I've had questions that people have turned around and said, I want to know what you know. Well, you can know what I know, but it'd be on a different level.
You don't want to know what I know.
Sometimes, yeah. But come down on a different level, because it's different guides and things that are talking to you, not what my guides would say to you. Okay. So we learn it differently. Same as when we're going to school, we can read the same book, but we get out of it different things.
Different things. Yes, that's a perfect analogy. I love that.
Yeah. So, and that really is as black and white, as you can get it. And, it's not like, touch my finger and I'll pass you the information.
Yeah, like the E.T.
And don't be hard on yourself. And the thing is if you are enlightened, and there are a lot of very enlightened souls, and you come across somebody that isn't, and as Debbie said in the beginning, it's, there's no stupid question, there's no stupid answer. If it bothers you, and you need to know, it's something that you need in your growth.
Yeah.
So it really, really, it really doesn't matter. The same as the person that was like, wanting the finger and the information. So really, it takes it right the way back, right back to the beginning. And it's not as well as somebody else has asked, like, do you just wake up in the morning and go, oh, and everything looks differently, you see different and things like that? That gradually comes when you have evolved, and you look back on yourself and you're like, oh gosh, no, I didn't see that then, but how can I see, but I really see it now, and it's so obvious.
Yeah. One of the questions I get is, why am I here? Why do things not always go right for me? Those kind of things, because we seem to be more interested about our spiritual development when our life has gone caca or turned upside down, because sometimes that is part of the process to wake us up inside. Okay, look for a different way to do this. What was it Einstein said? You can keep doing it the same way and getting the same result, or you can change things. And that's sort of a little bit about, sometimes we have to shift and adapt and move. And it's funny because one of the things that I learned, with question asking at a very young age, was going to school. I was always the one that sat at the front of the class, not at the back of the class. My eyesight is not that, it wasn't then, but it's better now, believe it or not. My eyesight wasn't that great when I was younger. And so I would sit at the front of the class, because in those days they had a blackboard with chalk. You remember that? Anyway, so if I didn't understand something, mine was the hand that went up always, like, I don't understand that. What's that about? Can you explain it? And it's funny because other people in the class would come to me after and say, oh, I'm so glad you asked that. Or, I was too afraid to. I'm like, why? So I was obviously one of those kids that I didn't care what anybody else thought. And it was like, if I don't understand it, I want to know why I don't understand it. What am I missing out on here? So I think there was that little bit of curiosity that was always inside of me to ask that. So, it's probably the same with you, when you start off at a young age having conversations with, spirit friends, as it were, we assume it's okay to say this. So, somebody just asked here, let me just pop this up on the feed.
Yeah.
Doesn't have something to do with free will. Yes, it does have something to do with free will as well, Helen, because go ahead. So
we all have free will.
Yes.
And we certainly have a lot of free spiritual will. But the thing is, if you're going to take it that far back onto that enlightenment has the free will, yes, we're here really because subconsciously, whether you know it or not, you chose to be here to learn, to become enlightened. Okay.
Yes.
That is then and like as I've gone, and you've heard me talk many times through the healings and other talks that I've had, is that once you've awakened the soul, which resides 6 inches above the crown, once you've connected the heart and the soul together, that is your true purpose, that is the zest for life. That is why you know that you're here for a reason.
Yeah.
Okay. So you still have the free will to go on. Hence, when you're a child, that you have that innocence about you, that you're coming forward and telling, parents things and things like that.
Oh.
Again, goes on with the parents. If the parents aren't enlightened, they stop it in the child.
Yes.
Right. So it stops that growth. And then as you're enlightened further on, or you connect again and you're like, okay, oh, wow, I'm starting to, I feel I've got inner knowing here.
Yeah.
Like I've got insight. So the 4 C's open up.
Yeah.
The clairaudient, claircognizant, clairvoyant, and clairaudient. And then there's, others around it as well. Yeah. So once all this actually then starts and you start getting back onto that path, that's your choice. Okay. So you have the free will to progress. You have the free will to stop. Yeah. But what I will tell you is, when you do make that decision
consciously
to step on that path, and you actually do start speaking, teaching it and things, you don't quite have the free will then to switch it off.
Yeah.
You can put it on the back burner, but it still goes, and it's still pushing you because you're here with a job, with a purpose to do. Yeah. It's the same as with anything. You can, and okay, let's take it in. I'm going to just take this another way. You can go and have a reading, and you can go in and asking about a relationship, loved ones, or whatever. Comes through in the reading onto it that it's in your best decision to leave. But you have the free will whether you want to stay, whether you want to go.
Yeah.
And you can change that situation. So you can talk about it, and if the lessons are learned, you can still be together because you've moved it to a different level. Right? So you used your free will in more of a positive way. And there are times that you have to leave, you have free will, it goes on and people go back. So free will can come in right the way, across the board. Mm. We also get put on us as well about health and things like this that comes from spirit, that we know it. Do we have the free will? Do we really hear from spirit that you're not, you have to go gluten-free and you need to be eating vegan and everything else? And we go by and we see the biggest cheesecake or banquet that's sitting out there, and we know we shouldn't be eating it, but we have to listen, but we choose not to. So I mean, that's putting it in a layman term, of it. So free will is a really, really good tool that we need to look at. But what we also need to remember as well, we have free will. So does the other person that you're looking at, that you're probably trying to change, has that free will too. And that's where you have to use your discernment and judgment on.
Yeah. And the thing is, I know in my lifetime, there have been certain points as I've grown up, and I mean from childhood to teenage to adulthood to motherhood, to marriage, and all of those kind of things, that there have been certain times that spirit, I've had to say, you know, I can't deal with all this human stuff and the crap that's going on here, or this, and you as well. And they'll back off to a point where they go, okay, well, let's see what you will do for yourself. Will you meditate every day? Will you do this? Or so I think that you don't actually lose that connection. It just gets put on, as you say, on the back burner so that you can focus on the human stuff. But I'm telling you, once you make that full commitment, which for me was back in, I think it was 2010, you know, like I'm moving from corporate world into doing this just full time. And yeah, and then I backtracked a little bit and went, oh no, I'm not going to do it. And then I had an accident at work, then a car accident. So, you know, spirit was saying, you committed to this, you committed. And it
look who was going back out. Look who was going back out to work full time.
I know. So when we make that commitment, when we make that commitment to do the work, so this is what I'm saying, you have to be very conscious, spiritually conscious, that when you make that commitment, okay, I'm going to do this 100%. So be careful. Don't say 100%. Just say, I'm going to do this. I'm going to work on myself and those kind of things. Because once you say 100%, which I did, 100%, I'm going to do this. And then I went, oh, I don't know if I can really afford to give up corporate world, and, you know, what's going to happen financially, because at that time I was buying my own home, and, you know, all of those kind of things were going into the craziness. And it's like spirit went, you're not backing out on the deal now, so we're going to make it so you have to go through with this. So again, they only do that when you say, I'm 100%, I'm going to do this, I'm going to give up this and do that. So as Ida said, when, even if it's to do with just diet, and you're getting these insights from spirit, because that is one of the signs of spiritual enlightenment. You'll change your eating habits. Okay. Things that you could eat up to this point may now start reacting to you because it's not fitting right with your vibration, with your frequency, with the work that you want to do, and you're opening up.
Another way of looking at it, if you're going to flip it, is you become the child to spirit being the parent.
Yes.
And
eat your broccoli.
Exactly. And it's like, gosh, I feel really tired. I think I need to go to bed. It's 9:30. I don't go to bed at 9:30. I go to bed till midnight. But spirit's turning around saying, it's changing now. 9:30 is the time I need you to go to bed, because I'm going to wake you up during the night so that you can write down the information that's needed for the next day for the person that's coming for reading. Right? It is a job.
It's a job. You've made that commitment. You have to look after your health and well-being. You have to commit to the time to meditate. You have to commit to the time to do what is there. Otherwise, you're going to be okay. You may fumble. A bit like at school. Okay, a bit like at school. So we're having a test next week. We're having an exam next week. And it's based on everything you've learned. Well, you could go out and party that night. And you could just think, oh, I think I know this. And then you turn up for the test or the exam and it's like, holy crap, I know nothing.
Yeah, it's different. It's a different exam than what I thought it was.
Absolutely. And if you're committing to do this, then you commit to it in whatever way. You know, I always say, you know, write your contract to what you're prepared to do. If that is, I am prepared to sit and meditate for 10 minutes every day, or 5 minutes every day, or 2 minutes every day, then do that every day. Because here's the thing, spirit put in their time and energy too. And if you go at this in like a few people like, oh, well, I meditated today, that's all I need to do. But if you said, I'm going to meditate every day, and you don't do that, spirit are going to go, well, you know what? When you're ready, come back and, check in with us. You committed to something and now you're not there fully, and it's not that something crazy is going on in your world.
You have to work harder.
Yes.
When you've given it up.
Yeah.
To get it back. It doesn't just come back at the pace it was. You have to go through the steps. And like, as I say, it goes on that you start hearing, feeling, and you vibrate. You don't actually acknowledge the fact your vibration is rising, but it is. So when it actually starts that, and then you're like, oh, this is a bit of an easier connection here. So you go to preschool, and then you'll go to kindergarten. Then you'll go to school, and then you go on to college, then you go on to university, and then you graduate. When you graduate, you start
university and
it's once you've graduated, you start learning.
You start learning. I love that, because that's the truth.
Yeah, because you have to work twice as hard for when you go and sit and do a reading, because as a human being yourself, yes, you've gone through, you've had the connection with spirit, you've heard, you've wrote things down, you've pulled the cards, you've got this intuition, you've got this self-awareness that's around, you're using your energy as, like, you're more involved as an empath of something happened here, what happened, and you're tuning in. Then that first person sits in front of you, right? And you've had all that. You now have to read for that person. And they start babbling to you, and you're like, no, I don't want to know anything. Don't tell me anything. I don't want to know nothing at all. Then you have to tame what I call is an ego energy.
Yes.
Because you're like, oh my gosh, I have to say something. I have to save face, this sort of. So you have to suppress an energy. Then you've done the connection and that. And then sometimes, because you're trying so hard, it's like, I've got nothing. Oh my gosh, I can't read it. I can't do this. Then get into a conversation, not about life or anything like that. How's your day? Blah, blah, onto it. Relax, because the other person can be that uptight too. They're holding their energy back from you that you can't read. So you're naturally assumed you've blocked off. And then once everything has relaxed and you've gone into it and you start talking, it just comes in that conversation. And then you'll be surprised at how quickly you can work at it and grow. And the main thing is that truth and that belief in yourself. And that is when you're highly evolved. But remember, you had past lifetimes that, if you look at it, you're no different from me. You're no different from Debbie. We're no different from any of you.
No lesser, no more than.
Exactly.
We're just on different frequencies. I love this. Lorraine said here, I have so much to learn. Whoops. I have so much to learn. Me too, Lorraine. Me too. I'm still learning. Okay. If I hadn't and I got it all, I'd be back in spirit. Okay. In that respect. Okay. I'm not saying I want to go back to spirit or anything like that, but we're constantly learning on this way. And here's the thing. Yes, as Helen said, they do have a sense of humor. Yes, they do. They're working with me. Oh my gosh. I'm concluding that my initial guide, going back to, I can't even remember. 1979? No. Anyway, it was around about the 1970s. I had to go back to one of my very first journals if I can find it. And, some of the questions that I would ask was, okay, can you tell me your name, to my very first spiritual guide when I was sitting in a spiritual development group. And he said, my name's Stephen. I'm like, oh, okay. So what did you do when you were incarnated? Or where did you live when you were incarnated? And he said, in Ireland. I said, oh, okay. And this wasn't just one conversation. This was weeks and weeks and weeks and weeks, okay? And then I asked, so what did you do, like, when you were incarnated? I was a potato farmer. And you know what I did at that moment? I went, I've got a potato farmer helping me with my spiritual development. And I got this thwack across the back of my head. And it's like, now you've decided that you've got these answers, these human type answers. Let's get on with the work. It doesn't matter who I was. I've chosen to work with you to help you develop. But you're human and you want to know my name. You want to know where I came from, what I did, my credibility particularly. And wow, did I get a rude awakening with that. So, once we connect with our guide, yes, it's human. It's human to ask the name, what they did, who they were incarnated. And yes, it may be initially somebody that you knew that was living And it may be a relation, or somebody that you knew, or it could be like mine, Stephen, the potato farmer from Ireland. Whatever it is, once you get through what I call the niceties, focus on the learning. And each one of you will have different learnings. So,
and it depends what you want to learn from what you've come into learning in this lifetime.
yeah.
I know, and going through on to the mediums that I trust to talk to me, that there has been one lesson that I've already learned, and I've drawn the line under it, and I don't have to go back and learn that.
Yeah.
Another one that I'm learning at this moment is discipline, and it's very discipline with, within myself, like, as we say, the meditations, the the writings, and this sort of thing. Like before, it was like it literally was every day, all day, every day, even going to, we went to work and I would still be doing it, and it was just flow. Yeah. And then life happens, like it does. So
it's funny. Somebody was saying to me, that Deepak Chopra drinks coffee and he doesn't meditate any longer. And I'm like, well, I think he may have just got to that stage where he can do that. And it was so funny because it's almost like you're drinking coffee. I'm like, but Deepak Chopra drinks coffee. I'm like, each person's body, human body, will equate to what it needs. Like when I go on tour, I have to change what I put into my body physically, what I eat. Partly because when I'm on tour, I'm up really early, going all day, and then finish at 10, 11 o'clock at night. So eating a heavy meal or something at 11 o'clock at night, it's not going to be good for my constitution, and it's going to make me feel pretty sick as well. So I have to make sure that if I'm on tour for 30 days or 60 days or whatever, that I keep my body healthy and active and balanced. So I know there are certain things I have to withdraw from eating, and I'm like, oh. But then I know when I come back home, it's okay to go back on them again because I'm on a downtime, as it were. But so, and if it is, I have days when I wake up and I know when I wake up in the morning, I'm not going to eat meat today, and I don't eat meat. Or another day I'm going, okay, I want to have this infusion. I need to eat lots of fresh vegetables. Well, I eat them every day, but I mean, intentionally eating them fresh, not cooked. Or I have fruit and stuff.
Whatever. Cold pressed juices, because I just can't handle any form of food. And I've got extra sensitive to what if I see somebody eating something, and like you're just saying, like with meat, and I see them chewing it, upchuck. Yeah. I have that reaction. And oh my god, like, and somebody only has to talk about what they're doing and like having lobster, and they did this, and I'm saying, don't, just stop, I don't need to hear this. And then it went on into the graphics of getting the meat and everything else, and I literally did just projectile straight out. And he was like, oh my god, I didn't. And I said, I told you, and there was nowhere I could go or anything. And I'm like, I can't
do certain smells for me that they have. So we have a question based on. So Lorraine has asked, how do we connect with our guide?
You have a phone and you call it and you go, hi, it's Lorraine here. No, you don't. Sorry.
Well, you do. Actually, you do in sort of a different way.
It's very, very similar to that. Okay.
Yeah, it is very similar.
Yeah. How how I do it is, where do you feel the most comfortable? Okay, because you if you've not done it before, you will toe tap, right? And what I mean by toe tap is, I'm going to connect to my guides. I'm going to go and I'm going to do it. And you sit there, and then you'll hear a click and a noise, and you're like, no, probably not today.
Yeah.
So this is what I mean about toe tapping. If you really want to connect your guides, they are more than happy and ready and willing.
Commitment.
Literally there to help you.
Yeah.
So if for you, it means just having a nice bath with candles, and you're nice and relaxed, then lay in your bath. Or if you feel better, that you're going to be laying in your bed where you feel safe, right? Onto that. And then what I do is I just sort of completely get into a relaxed state and more into sort of like a meditative state, and try and control my mind, switch everything off, breathe, feel the energy around me, feel me, my energy, that's, you know, right? That sort of thing. And then I'm deep breathing and I go up and I ask, are my guides present?
Exactly. I was going to say, you don't have to know who they are for the start of. It's like, I would like to open my spiritual development, or I would like to develop, or I would like to learn more. Is there somebody in spirit that can help me, assist me with this? So yeah, ask questions in that way. I love that, Ida.
Yeah. And then once you have asked, and you probably are already aware of the fact that you can get tingles, you can get goosebumps, you know, like feel like there's something, you know, just something like touching you. This is what I say.
Spiders in your hair. That was mine. Spiders in my hair.
Yeah, and that's why you have to be confident within yourself and trust. Okay, because they're more than willing, you know, to help you. I don't know why, but I see 3 with you. That's what I'm already feeling. I'm seeing a female and 2 males, and one's an older male, is what I feel. So, and like with the teachings on that for you is, a lot of it is personal growth again with you. I know we can say it with God, but personal growth with you, the belief in yourself, because it's like you tend to stand back and look in, and if it's working for somebody else, that's where you get a confidence from, and then you'll follow that. But that is hindering you because that's not your path. So that's what I'm feeling from, like, what I'm actually getting from them. So basically, I would just say wherever you feel the safest in that, and ask if, you know,
you can connect. Like, I want to learn, I want to develop, I want to open up, I want to expand, whatever those words are to us in that way. And then listen with your spidey senses.
Yeah.
Okay. You're not going to get a glory be to God on high banner that comes in front of you. You're going to get
some people go, well, once I've said that I want to connect, do I just wake up in the morning and like
bang? No, it takes time.
And you're not going to get them at the coffee table going, well, today, your lessons for today are, and while we're having a cup of coffee, and then, you know, we'll do this. And you're not going to actually hear it audibly, because these, like, as I say, when you graduated, this is what you build on. And this is what you work towards. And I have to say, what I feel very, very blessed about is in the last couple of weeks, I have heard audibly when I was a child, and I heard audibly when I was back in England, and that was from 2015 to 2018. I was just out walking, and I was thinking a lot, and I just looked up and I was quiet, and all of a sudden I audibly stopped in my tracks and had this conversation. And, you know, I see the words, the color of the words, and heard the words. Then it's gone off. Now it's back again, because it is a shock to you to start off with, and you're like, okay, so work with it and go on with it. Lorraine says she gets all that. So if you can work with that, and then what I always turn around and say is if from here, right, upwards, you don't want to come any lower than the ear. Here, upwards, you know it's from spirit. Here, downwards, a lot of it is our own ego and what we want to believe, you know, that sort of thing. Okay, so really discern of where it's coming from.
Yeah.
And then relax and turn around and say, you know, what is your name?
It's an ongoing conversation. This is the thing.
It's just ongoing.
And it's like we might have this conversation here that consumes an hour of our time. Well, with spirit, time is infinite. There is no, hey, I'm going to be there. You know, if you're saying I'm going to meditate every day at a set time, turn up and be there every time at that time.
Because they will wait for you.
They will wait for you.
How you have to look at it is the fact that, let's just say that Debbie and I turned around and said, every day this week, you ladies, we're going to be doing, you know, the readings here, we're going to be doing these conversations, we're going to be here right on 10 o'clock every day.
Yeah.
We turn up the first day, and then you turn up for the rest of the week. We don't. And then we go, oh, we didn't think you were going to be there. We had other things to do.
I had something happen or things like that. So this is what I say, the commitment. And here's something Francesca's brought up. Everyone is unique, so we need to stop looking at what others are doing. Yes, if meditation for you is going out for a walk in nature, do it. But switch off your social media. Holy Hannah. I've been
the phone at home.
in the days when I would go out for a coffee with somebody and their phone was continually going ding, ding, ding. And they were constantly looking down and then coming back to the conversation. Well, first of all, that's rude. And I have shared that. Unless, you know, somebody, I'm going out for coffee. Okay, my mum's sick at the moment. I'm waiting to hear what the doctor says, or something's going, like an emergency kind of situation. But if you're doing that with friends or family or even your work colleagues and you're not fully there present, imagine what that's going to be for spirit. They're going to say, oh, well, she's too busy. Another time, whenever you're ready. Okay, so when you join this class with your spirit guide and you get to know whether it's their name or their energy is what I say. I get to know their energy, like you know me by my voice, my hair and whatever, and Ida's known for her voice and, you know, the way she does things. So that's our energy. We're known for that. That is what we project outwards, and this is what happens with your spirit guides and helpers. So I just want to backtrack us here. Amber said, I've been told by you ladies that my guide is an older lady named Dottie or Dorothy, but I still pray and talk with my dead best friend Chris constantly, and I always try to connect at full and new moons. Good for you, Amber. See, again, we're placing a name on it, okay, on our guide and so forth. And maybe that guide, Dottie or Dorothy, is somebody that is also there within that frequency, but you feel more familiar with Chris. You know, many years ago, I had a client come to me and say that their young son was sensing and seeing spirit, but they didn't like it. And there were some issues that were happening with this child. He wouldn't go to sleep at night because he was scared and da. So I sat down, and this was then what they call a crystal child. And the crystal children here, they have a job to do. Okay, we all have a job to do, but theirs is actually set into motion before they come here, like all of us, but theirs is very quick. So they're either to do with environment or changing the, you know, they're based on planet-based things. Okay, so I won't go into that because that's another subject completely. But anyway, this young soul, I sat down with him and connected with his spirit guide, and the spirit guide was like, well, I want to, you know, he was about 6 years of age. It's like, well, we want to get all this information out so that, you know, he remembers it and starts remembering it. And this young soul, it was so funny because he was so much into nature. It was unbelievable. So I got confirmation from spirit saying that, yes, this is their tool. But I said, but you're frightening them when you come through. So he said, okay. And I didn't know this. I said, you know, the guiding spirit said, okay, he has this blue, like teddy kind of shaped creature. So I asked the child, and he said, yeah. So I said, would you feel more comfortable if that was talking to you? He sort of looked, and I said, because that's how your spirit guide wants to be. And I said, there's nothing to be concerned about. And he thought about it for a moment. He said, but what if I lose that toy? What if I said, well, don't worry about it, because by that time you'll have that conversation. And this was his way of feeling more comfortable with it. So what I'm saying here, Amber, is maybe Chris is the one that you're comfortable with at the moment. And beneath that, Dottie or Dorothy is going to play that role as well in guiding Chris to assist you on your journey. So I hope that makes sense. Let me quickly scroll down here. And see, yes, I got all that. I'm just making sure. Yes, boyfriend of 10 years, Amber said. So let's get on to some of the subtle things that happening to us at the moment to do with signs of awakening. For instance, I was saying to Ida yesterday when we were chatting, I said, oh my gosh, I got this Scentsy thing that I found in my cupboard, and I put it into the little lighting thing, but all I've been doing is sneezing. And, she said, oh, so mine at the moment is this sensitivity to smell. And it was creating like these sneezing, cold, flu-like symptoms. So again, it can be just a shift and change for me at this time, which could also be a shift or change that's happening for you. So cold or flu-like symptoms. So don't assume, you start sneezing and coughing and, that kind of thing, that you've got COVID.
Yeah.
Okay, yes, if you truly feel that you have, then take the right steps. I'm not saying don't do that, but this can happen, especially at the moment. We've got in North America, where I am, we've got temperature changes. And I know for me, I'm very sensitive to temperature changes physically. So that means that one frequency is coming down and one's going up. And for me, I work better in the warmer, dry frequency than the wet or cold frequency, which tends to make my nose itch and twitch and do all those horrible things. So then I have to adjust my body accordingly. So, add into that, because that's just one of the signs there. Your sinuses may feel a bit bunged up or things like that. You don't feel sick. When I get a cold or I get flu or something like that, I know it's like off to bed, my head's pounding, I'm not feeling great, yada, yada, yada. And then I'll go to bed. I'll sleep it off. And, I'll infuse the chicken soup and all of the things that I need to do. But when I've got this and I'm going to myself, okay, what's happening here? Then I connect into my body and go to spirit. Okay, so another shift that's going on. Okay, people might have pinging or tinging in their ears. Another sign of spiritual awakening. I'll let you take the floor, because I tend to get on this and I could go off in different directions. So share in the feed below any of the, it doesn't have to necessarily be this one. As we talked about food, certain foods you can eat or don't eat, your habits change, your sleeping, there's so many. So if anybody's got any, and just put it in the feed there, and then we can talk about that particular one. And meanwhile, back to Ida.
Body temperature and hearing tones is how I realize someone's trying to talk to me.
Yeah.
I know, because there's a lot of spirit in here. And that's why I put my hair, like, I went so red, and I'm like, oh my gosh. And it probably would work better if we had our feet on a set of peas or something, frozen peas, while we're doing the talk.
I get very hot when I'm working with spirit. In fact, if anybody see me when I've been doing platform mediumship, it's literally like the sweat is just pouring off me, which doesn't look very nice, because I'm constantly like tapping with a handkerchief just to dry my face so people don't have to see the sweat falling down. But that is just for me. And, as we said, some people get that like feeling of tickling in the hair,
But spirit wants to connect more now. The way that, because of what's happening in our world at this moment, the way that, people see, and, you can look at the COVID as negative, but you can also look at it as a positive as well, because it's working on both ends. It's exposing on both ends. Yep. It's bringing it in your home and things like that. So it's working on very many different levels. Okay, so that's part of it that we have to embrace, and the other part is just of keeping ourselves healthy. And if you do tune in and you listen, and spirit will help and guide you on that way, as well, to get in as much fruit and vegetables, cold pressed juices, all these sort of things that you can get straight into your system.
Yeah.
Multivitamins, vitamin D, B12s, E's, magnesium. Yeah.
And of course, vitamin D, you can go out into the sunshine, even on a really cold day. Yeah, muffle up and go out and let the sun get onto your physical body. And again, each person will have different things. So, like somebody said earlier, not everything's going to be the same. And you could say to your friend, well, I'm connecting with spirit, and all of a sudden I'm having these hot flushes. And I'm like, well, I'm not, but I'm getting a pinging in my ears. And then somebody else might say, Well, I'm not. All of a sudden, I've just changed my eating habits. Each person, as we said, is on a different frequency, no lesser, no better. But each one will have what they need. And that's the changes that will happen within each of you. And there are so many different ones. I quickly pulled up a list here of some of them. You could have physical difficulties like aches or pains throughout your body, soreness or stiffness of joints. And it's not been because you have all of a sudden done this huge exercise workout. Your vision can change. My vision as a child was really poor. And in fact, when I went for my eye test exam a couple of years ago, and I do wear glasses for distance, like I'm one of those weird people. I got one eye that's long-sighted and one eye that's short-sighted, and I'm not quite sure which. So I have glasses that I wear for when I'm driving, and when you get to that delicate age anyway, and your eyes are supposed to get worse. Your eyesight is supposed to get worse. Mine's improving. And the ophthalmologist said to me, I don't see this very often. I said, well, it's all a matter of, usually when people get older, thank you, their sight gets worse. And I'm like, no, mine is changing. So again, your vision can be your perception of things. You may see sparkles or, little glimpses of spirit going past. And there is a lot of spirit and extraterrestrial activity at the moment. I can tell you that. And that one can be a flash of light. One can be a really as if it's gone past, as if, a dog's run past you or something like that. So there's that kind of thing. To do with our physical, going back, that sometimes we can have heart flutters, palpitations. Okay, again, if you're having this as a continuous thing, get it checked out. I'm not saying that there's not a medical reason there. Hearing, as we said, we can have that pinging or tinging or ooh kind of sound going on there. We're sensitive to sound.
Sensitivity to light as well.
And to light. We have a dog that our neighbor has that tends to bark. So Chris has his dog whistle. He has to let me know as soon as he's using that dog whistle, because, oh my gosh, it feels like my eardrums and it's not maybe I'm turning into dog or something. But anyway, so, we could be feeling a little bit off balance, that vertigo kind of sense. Tiredness, as Ida said earlier, if you're at 9:30 at night and your body's like, I'm done for the day, and you can go to sleep. That is what you need. Another thing that's happening, and it's
happen while you sleep as well.
Yeah. Another thing that is shifting and changing is what will be tolerable to us. Are you going to get into that argument over something? Are you feeling, this disconnect, emotional sadness related to what others are thinking or doing at this particular time? And I'm talking in the situation here of COVID. So those kind of things, you could be extra sensitive. You can be feeling sad, or just I'm on a mission here kind of thing. So all of those are part to it. Relationships, as Ida said, it can be a case that we're being thrown something that we need to deal with. So Amber said, yeah, body temperature and hearing tones is how I realize someone's trying to talk to me. Yes. And this is the thing. Once we have a consistency, and spirit will try different ways, okay? They will try different ways to get our attention, if you like. And once we've noticed it and we connect with that, as I said, when I first started, mine was like spiders running through my hair. And that was my connection. As soon as I felt the spiders running through my hair, I would sit down and go, okay, what is it you want to communicate? So this, again, once we connect to that correlation, if you like, that's how it works. And we keep building on that. So when we feel that spidery feeling, or we feel that whisper, or we feel that tickle in our ear, or we feel really hot, or we hear that
or the kettle
tone.
starts for no reason at all.
Oh, yeah. Oh, that's another thing. Yes. Doorbells ringing, and
and the kettle will start, or and you'll go by, and you've had the TV on one station, and then you go in and you're like, what is this? Who turned the channel? And nobody's turned the channel. So there's all sorts of ways. The dog just sort of goes wide-eyed and then like watches something, like walk through.
Or if you're signed up for something, and then all of a sudden in your email box comes something, or you're searching on Google for something else, and then something else pops up in the sidebar there that catches your attention. That might be, again, that spirit going, hey, you need to watch this or listen to this. And that can be, it's more now than ever before because of the isolation.
Yeah.
Okay, so it's not a bad thing in a way. We just got.
One thing you were saying back there was like how energies are heightened, how heightened we are when we raise the vibration. But when you look into a menstrual cycle, okay, this was one comment that
any gentlemen that are watching, please bear with us here, because actually men do have cycles as well.
Yeah,
so
they do.
Don't just miss that.
So if you think of it that, and you are raising your vibration more on a new moon, a full moon, blue moon, or anything like that, and you have your menstrual cycle, boy, oh boy, are you going to feel the energies more. And you're not going to understand, if you're not enlightened, you're not going to understand the energies. People are just going to turn around and go, God, she's got PMT. Oh, and that is a red flag to a bull. It really is. So the understanding and the work comes back to the responsibility of ourselves. So knowing what is happening and then going on to it, that's where you have to be gentle with yourself. And then you need to be aware and go, oh gosh, I snapped at that. Why did I snap at that? Okay, this is, what do I need to release? Because a lot of releasing has to happen on these new moons and such things. So you can do your own rituals, you can put it onto paper, put it into a stick. Always ask the fire to burn, right? Don't just assume the fire is going to do it. So, if you were wanting some sugar and you went to your neighbor, you would ask for, can I borrow some sugar? You'll give it you back. If they're not there, you won't go in and go, oh, they're not going to miss it. And you pour it in, you take it off it, and then you leave it with an empty bag. Yeah. So this is what I'm saying. There's still this work that you want to release. You write it down on paper. You go to the fire, or you do it with a stick or anything like that. You ask the stick to take it. You ask the fire to take it. Then you burn it. You ask, the angels, guides to let it go, help you release.
It's intention, based on intention.
Yeah. But you need the ritual. You also need the intent behind it is your thought that you're putting into it. Okay. Yeah. So you're writing it down and going on, but you still have to ask, same as if you went to a stream, and you're like, I'm going to let the river wash away my worries. Ask the river to take it. Don't just burden it. We always, for everything we're getting rid of somewhere, it's like somebody driving along and not having the refuse come and take their garbage to the dump.
Bring it out the window.
The countryside. Everybody else sees it. Everybody else feels it. So this is the same with our emotions and our thoughts and everything else. Always ask, and then after you've done it, offer blessing. Whether you pick a few little dandelions, that are going over and say, "Oh, thank you, I need this," or petals that you found, or leaves, or something like that. Tobacco, anything. Just offer as as a thank you and blessings, and and walk away from it. That again has you in touch and raising your vibration, but that will also raise your vibration with the elementals of nature. And then you'll actually start working with them. So it has this knock-on effect, right? It's the same, if you're driving along in a car and you hit road rage and somebody speaks to you, you road rage with them. You've automatically, they're going to feel it. So it will go on, and it's a knock-on effect. It's that ripple that goes. But if you just sort of like, okay, let's just be... Yeah. Let's just breathe. Let's just get this. Yes, have a nice day, and you can start. Nice smile, because we are human. but we're diffusing, a situation, but it's a knock-on effect that also calms that person. And that's one of the ways to control energy universally. Yeah. And then, I mean, as we were talking before about as we are vibrating and we get into a vibration where we're dealing in time and space.
Yes.
That, on that part, which is still Earth, but we're dealing right up there, and the massive energies and the intensive energies that are on there, then yes, you really, really do watch your thoughts, watch how you put it there, because when you say like on Earth, like here, it can be tenfold. When you put it up there, it's speed of light. It really is. So we have to really, really watch, what we say and do. And when we do, it doesn't mean to say that we're allowing things to happen to us, and we're being submissive and things like that is what comes on the human level. It's we're choosing the path which is easier for us to walk. Like you walk, you're at work and you have to build a road, and this road has to be straight, okay? And then all of a sudden it's straight, but it hits a mountain right in the middle, and you're like, my gosh, I can't go up over it, onto there. I'm going to go through it. I'm going to
go around it or through it.
Yeah, you're digging away and everything else. But they're saying, well, yeah, it needs to go straight going onto that. But you don't have to dig around it for this, go through it. For this, you can go around it. So what was the easiest option? The absolutely grafting to get through it and wearing yourself out that's taking it quite twice as long, or thinking, okay, I can go around it, but I still hit the
tour as part of the journey.
So, you're making life easier, for yourself and for everybody else.
The Helen's just put here, a lot of things have to do with intentions. Yes, when it comes to spirit and manifestation, absolutely. And here's the takeaway that because we've gone past the hour. So here's the takeaway here. Take note of all the different things that are happening to you. Okay, we've talked about the tinging, the pinging, the sneezing, the heat, the cold. So take note of this. And maybe this is their way of trying to connect with you, they being spirit. And then step into that intention. Okay, now I'm getting this. So I'm going to sit and meditate and maybe ask a question. Like, what am I here to do? Or what do we need to do? Or any of those. And again, there are no stupid questions.
No.
Start having that conversation. But here's the thing. Remember that it's not going to happen in that nanosecond. I'd like fries with it. Okay.
Yeah.
This
I also need to understand as well. There's intention and there's intention. Right? If you're going to sit and go, I want to connect with my guys, I'm putting the intent out, I want to connect with them. Yeah, you've put the intent, but the intention of it didn't come into play. So you can think and say, oh, well, I have the intention, the intent behind it, I'm doing this. But you really have
to know what your intention is.
To do groundwork and not expect that because you just put out, I want to connect to my guides, I put the intent out there, the intention is.
What happened?
Yeah. Do the work. There is work to do. If you've got an essay, I'm going to write my essay and everything else, and the intention's there. Well, the intention was there to write the essay, but I just signed it at the bottom. That doesn't work, right? And that's the same as what we're saying with spirit. There is a process to it, and a process, of commitment. And depending on the person, as well, from all of you, we're all healers, right? Every single one of us are healers. You walk down the street and smile at somebody, you're healing that person that probably just walked out and had some terrible news, right? So we're all healers.
You're healing.
And if you don't believe in the elementals and fairies and things like that, you bet your bottom dollar because you picked that up, there's a fairy that's noted it. Okay? Yeah. And you have to connect with those, which is another topic on the elementals, and that is you do have to do the groundwork.
Yeah.
And a lot of people are scared to connect with them because they are very human-like in ego on this plane. You said you were going to do it and you didn't. Well, tough. That's your problem. I'm off. Yeah. So they're a spade. So, and there has to be respect that way. But by picking up litter, just tidying up nature by talking to them, putting the energy out, that actually helps you grow in a connection, and also a different vibration is raised in that connection. Yeah. So, you know, it's like you go up the tree, you can branch out, then you branch out, you branch out, you branch out.
And maybe you've gone out for a walk and you've stopped and you've seen a little bug on the ground and it's caught your attention and you're watching it. Or you know, so what we're saying, I should say, is that watch for the signs, watch for the indicators and the connection. Maybe you've had that conversation, you know, and said to spirit, you know, I want to learn more about how I can connect. And then all of a sudden you'll go out and then you'll see something and like, why am I focused on this? Why do I see this bug on the ground? Maybe you're supposed to sit there and meditate for a little while. Maybe you're just supposed to see the journey it goes on. As Ida said, you know, maybe it's trying to get to somewhere.
Look up, say if you see a ladybird or if it was an ant, a spider or anything like that, look up under spirit animal and see what message is there that's telling you what's happening at that time. Remember, it's happening at that time.
Yes.
That's not how it is for the rest of your life. As some people who have gone, oh, you know, I had an aunt, so spirit animal is my aunt. No, that was the message it was giving to you at that time. To have a spiritual animal is also another way that we go on, and it's a journey that you actually take, a new journey until you find your spirit animal.
There's so many different ways that spirit will try and communicate with you when you say, okay, I want to do this. How are we going to do this? You know, what's going to work best? And then watch for it. And they'll adapt and change and shift to, you know, so maybe you don't feel the tickling in your hair. Maybe it's the, you know, you're going to see the bug on the ground, or maybe you'll just happen to go to a coffee store and meet someone. Like, they're going to give you all these little nuances, which can't be all written down. Step 1 is do this. Step 2 is do that. Step 3 is do this. It's not like the ingredients for making a cake. You're creating your own recipe. You truly are. And this is the fun part about it. So I want to thank you, Ida, for sharing so much with us today. I think this is a conversation that will continue another time, because it's a big conversation and there's lots of different areas. Sorry? Maybe we can do a part 2. Okay, I will put a little...
There's one thing I've got to say that just come through, and I don't know if this pertains to anybody.
Okay,
but they were asking to connect to their mother, right? And somebody turned around and said, oh, put kettle on, love. Like in that sort of way. That was the mother speaking through the person to tell them that they were connected there. It was something to do with, oh, put kettle on, love, like that sort of way. So I don't know if
kind of come in and sit down and have a cup of tea, and we'll put
I don't think it was.
No, just the way
it's something that was here that was done like that, like as if this person would nick things. So hopefully that, you know, who is ever trying to connect to the mum, that something about always like, oh, put the kettle on, love, you know. So much love, Amber. Send me your email.
Yeah, we need you to message Ida, because that's the thing. I'll jump forward here, because Ida and I, on the 15th of October at 7 p.m. Eastern, will be offering free mini readings via our exclusive platform on Facebook. I will post this event in Eventbrite, and I will share on here on YouTube how to connect. But it is very exclusive, and we will be doing an hour, maybe a little bit longer, of free readings for everybody. So I'm just giving that spoiler alert now, because we just set the date beforehand, and I appreciate that Ida's doing that for me. So you can find out how to connect with Ida in the description below. Her Facebook page is there connected. And anything else you want?
Anything.
Sorry?
I said, you know, friend me on Facebook, message me, like my Rainbow Dimensional Healing page, where, you know, I share. Don't be afraid to, because some people go, oh, I didn't know that you would want to be a friend. I'm human. Like I am human, right? Really.
Friendly.
You know, like anybody wants to friend, feel free, share. This is what it's about. It connects that light, and it continues and continues. So I'm all for that.
I love it. So thank you, Ida. So next Monday, join me at noon Eastern, where I will have another guest here, and we will be sharing the positive and raising the vibration. So that on the 12th, which is next Monday, will be Canadian Thanksgiving. So as I haven't got a guest who wanted to commit to that, what I'm going to do is have a short recorded message and some sharings from me to you, to everybody. So you won't have to turn up at noon if you're a little bit late that day because you're busy doing your Canadian Thanksgiving. That's fine. On the 16th of October, I have Karen Holton with Quantum Health Transformation. She's going to be on the show. On October the 26th, I have Shelley Ruskies from Fine Herbs in Winter, where we will be Healthy Winter 101. So she's going to be offering some suggestions there. November the 2nd, I have Laurie Dulac from Palm of Calm, How to Winterize You. So you can see where this is going here. Nobody yet booked for the 9th, but that's okay. Gina Benson is coming back on the 16th of November. And hers is, I ain't afraid of no ghosts. So I think of both Ghostbusters with that. So again, check out my weekly reading, which is called The Divine Reset. Very much in tune with what we were talking about today, and it will give you some further insights, some things that you can do. And if you are not subscribed to my weekly YouTube channel here, click the button below. You know how to do it, and then you'll get everything, because I share something every single day, whether it's a mindful minute meditation, pick a card, the affirmation, that kind of thing. And it's every single day there's something. Okay, today is our time here. So again, thank you, Ida, for Ida May, for being with us today. Thank you for everybody that turned up during the live feed. Now we've finished. There will be no more questions. So you have to turn up for the questions. So bye, everyone. Have a vibrational week, embracing your true vibrational essence.
Take care. Love you guys.
Bye.